Hi, this is Paul Lloyd again, and the title of this particular YouTube video is what is the number one key determinant or number one key thing for you to be concerned with in order to be a successful executive recruiter? I really like this one. I think this is going to run a little bit longer than some of my other ones, but I think it'll convey to you what the number one key to success is in recruiting. Now, in order for me to do this, I was thinking of other times when I've seen things like where they come up and say, well, the number one reason for a successful relationship, or the number one key to success for business, or the number one best way for you to become a parent. And when I see these things and I read them, oftentimes they do hit the nail on the head, but they do, I don't say a disservice, but it's not enough because it doesn't fully explain the whole process. So in order for me to try to explain the process or explain the number one key element and for it to make sense to you, I have to bring in some other components so that it draws it all together. So just bear with me. I promise to bring it all together at the end. And I was thinking of how to do this, and I thought to myself, well, you know what? Explain the other components in relation to the body and use that analogy, and perhaps that'll be the best way for you to understand where I'm coming from. So as far as the number one key component, or the number one most important thing that you can realize that is the most important part of being an executive recruiter, think of your own heart in the body. In other words, the heart, if the heart's not working, you're not working. If it's not ticking, you're not kicking. If it's not moving, you're not. In other words, if your heart's not working, you can't work. So I'll use that analogy and I'll explain what the heart of recruiting is at the tail end of this. But I'd like to explain the other things that can contribute to the heart because they interact with the heart and they're reliant on it, and they also contribute to it. So if you don't understand that, it doesn't make sense if I'm talking about the key number one thing. And I'll use the arms and the legs and the head and explain them. So for the left arm, I'm going to say that one of the key components of recruiting is organization. Now you might say to me, Paul, that's really interesting. I'd say, well, organization is key to an executive recruiter. And I explain, and I've really done an unbelievably good job of explaining and implementing and showing and training how your desk as a recruiter should work for you. In other words, it should be a conveyor belt. You should understand the 21 trays that you have to have with the 21 files and how they interact. You should understand how to follow up in 3 different ways, from your box of 5x8 cards for your clients, to your contact software on the computer, to a follow-up file in your own desk, and how they interact. You have to understand the 15 minutes of planning when you recruit and each day, and then how that interacts also with your desk, and a number of other things. But if you saw my desk at the end of any given day, you'd say, wow, this isn't really organized because it looks like a bomb hit it. But there's a natural way that I clean that up real quick so that I know that I can touch any item within 5 seconds. So organization is your left arm, and it's vital. If you want to say what's the right arm in recruiting, I would say that would be personal preparedness. And you're saying, what do you mean? Well, if you're not personally prepared, mentally, physically, and emotionally for your day, then you cannot recruit. You see, everything you do, I should say 95% of what you do as a recruiter is proactive. You're not a cashier. Nothing wrong with being a cashier, but you're not a cashier where somebody walks in, pays $5 for an item, and walks out, you ring them up, and they leave. There are a lot of different, some say 30 different steps in the actual recruiting process. None of them overwhelmingly intellectually difficult, but if you're not personally prepared and on target and you won't be able to recruit. In other words, I recruit, as a lot of people do that own a single office, a single recruiter office. I recruit from anywhere from 3 of my homes: south of Tampa, Florida, north of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and on the beach in Central America. And I need 2 hours before my day for me to be prepared. That's me. So when you get to your desk either at 7:30 or 8 o'clock, understand that you can't just roll out of bed, click a couple things, and all of a sudden everything's great. You've got to be on target. You've got to be confident, relaxed, and prepped and prepared and ready to approach your day. So your left arm or your right arm would be personal preparedness. The third item, or let's say your right leg, would be time management. And I know there are a lot of courses out there that do time management, and that's spending the proper amount of time at the right time on the right things, understood, and everybody has to do that. But with recruiting, it's crucial. You have to spend your time on Class A searches and Class A candidates, and your pursuit of everything is based on those two things. And if you spend your time on Class C candidates and Class C searches, you waste an enormous amount of time, and you waste an enormous amount of money, and you waste an enormous amount of income. And I've spent over 15 years many, I have to say thousands of hours on the wrong candidates and on the wrong clients and job orders. So knowing how to manage your time is unbelievably crucial, and I go over that as to how you can discern that quickly. And the last item, let's just say it's your left leg, or the fourth item, the fourth component, would be your ability to execute. Your ability to take a look at how you plan, your ability to organize your desk, your ability to follow up, your ability to determine what you should be working on and what you're working, and actually do it. Your ability to get up in the morning and say, I'm going to go run 5 miles, and then actually do it. Execute on that plan. So those 4 components, your 2 arms and your 2 legs, organization, personal preparedness, time management, and execution are crucial. Now, you might think, okay, Paul, where's the head fit in here? Where does my head fit in? Because don't you have to be intelligent? Don't you have to have a good IQ? Don't you have to be able to think to be able to do this business? And I would say absolutely. But let me tell you a little story. And maybe this will come to life at the point I'm trying to make. Ben Hogan, who was a really good golfer, I think in the 50s and 60s, he won a couple tournaments. He won the Masters, he won the PGA, US PGA tournament. He won a lot of tournaments. He was an unbelievable golfer. I guess he's known as the person with the perfect golf swing, and he's also known to have practiced until his hands actually bled. One time when he was being interviewed by a number of journalists, I think it was during a round of a big tournament, they said, well, you know, Ben, when you're out there on the course with all the narrow fairways and the different pin placements, and, you know, they moved the tee boxes back, where is it on the course that it's the most difficult for you? And he looked at them all and he said, well, that's easy. Well, said, what do you mean? He goes, well, it's the same for everybody. And they said, what do you mean, Ben? He goes, it's the 6 inches between your head, between your ears. And I said, wow, so it's the 6 inches between your ears. And what he was just saying, which is very true, we're all up against the same hurdles. We all come to terms with different things, and we all have to manage our day and work hard and keep going and handle failures and handle disappointments, but we all are up against the same obstacles when we approach a day. So my mentality is, and I think any sales manager out there, any sales manager of a recruiting office, if you said to them, I have a person of average intelligence who's honest and articulate, in other words, they can convey a thought, they can speak properly, any person like that could be, granted with all the other things, very successful at recruiting. And they would always say, yes, you're right. In fact, probably 95% of them would say, of these sales managers of recruiting officers, would say, give me the turtle versus the hare. In other words, give me somebody who's works hard, but is, might be a little slow initially to try to get onto stuff, but they're not this smooth talking person who's just a fast talker and they burn out real quick. Somebody who can learn, somebody who can listen, somebody who can implement some things that they can help improve and get them a little bit faster. Give me that type of person versus the quick talkers and the people who, want to bullshit their life away. So the mind comes into play, and it's important for you to understand that, but the mind is not the most important factor of you being an executive recruiter. So let's get to the heart of the matter. I promised you I'd get there. For you to be a successful executive recruiter, and this is the heart of recruiting, this is the pumping every second, this is your ability to be an executive recruiter, is your ability to confidently, in a relaxed way, in an intense way, make sure you adhere to phone time. You have to have phone time and stay on the phone to be a successful executive recruiter. Notice I didn't say you had to make a ton of calls. That's That's a natural reaction of most folks. You have to be on the phone, you have to be prepared, you have to be planned, and you have to pick up the phone. Now, I'll bet there's nobody out there that can dial as many numbers as I can in an hour if you and I had a challenge like that. I have a lifter on my phone with a wireless headset. I leave it off sometimes and I dial. I might go through 40 messages, leave 40 good messages before I actually speak with someone. So I could do that quickly. What I'm saying is your normal hours, and this changes for a lot of different reasons, but should be between 8:30 and 11:30 in the morning, and should be between 1:15 and 4:15 in the afternoon. So that's 6 hours. That is a targeted area of phone time. There are many reasons why you're not on the phone for those times, and illness, not being planned properly, other things that if you're real and you're going to be honest, that you're not on the phone. But I have found through my 15 years that the times that I've really adhered to phone time and really stuck to the phone time versus the times that I've not, it's been like night and day with my results. When I have phone time, I'm successful and I make placements. When I'm, for whatever reason, not having the phone time I should consistently, I don't make placements. So the number one, in my book, and I think most folks in this industry that know it would agree, the number one key determining important factor for you to be successful as an executive recruiter is for you to have intense, confident, and relaxed, consistent phone time every day. And then you will be a successful executive recruiter. Thanks. I hope this helped you out a little bit. God bless you, whatever you decide to do, and peace to you and yours, and make sure you keep it real. Take care.